Hey there. I just got a question from one of our patrons, a guy who's really supported me a lot. He's taken some private lessons from me and bought a lot of my artwork and stuff at Vitas. So huge thank you to Vitas for being such a big supporter of myself as an artist and all the projects that me and Sean have done. Vitas was asking two questions related to like just the practical aspects of setting up being an artist that I'd like to try and answer at least. I don't know that I'm necessarily the best guy, but I'm gonna give a tour of how I have my studio set up, I guess, because that's kind of what the questions were related. It's probably not the most helpful or interesting thing, but the first question Vitas asked was about storing supplies in between projects so they're not just in random boxes, and then just setting up a general like ongoing workstation that he could use. I do things pretty differently than most people probably. So I'll start with my general setup and then move on to the storage because that just makes more sense from where I'm standing. I have a kind of spaceship desk. I don't have a normal like artist's desk that I work at. I have this standing desk that I got recently that has just kind of automated buttons. A lot of this is due to me setting up to teach remotely. When COVID happened, I make my living as a professor of art, and when COVID happened, I had to figure out how to teach drawing online and design online and things like that. So that meant I spent a lot of time, like 3 hours per class, multiple classes a week, just sitting at a computer talking to students, and that got really unhealthy. So I got the standing desk. I know it's kind of a crazy expenditure. I've been down to San Diego once to see Sean's, to get some art to Sean and seen his setup, and I know he uses a standing desk as well. I have the two primary monitors that I use when I work. So the huge, like 40-inch TV, I think. So when I'm drawing and stuff, I can see it big. I did it as a joke, and I wound up liking it. And then I have one off to the side if I need two screens, or if I like to watch movies when I draw. That's one of the reasons I don't have a drafting desk. And then I was gifted this XP pen, which is a tablet I can draw on. So sometimes I draw on this, and I have my old tablet that sometimes when I'm drawing digitally, I draw on this. It's mostly an ergonomics thing. My decision, if like sometimes I use this because I want to have it in my lap and be sitting properly. Sometimes I want to feel more like I'm actually working on a surface, and I'll switch to this. Another thing is sometimes I'll work with this, like if I'm doing like the stuff for Strange Death of Alex Raymond, where we're just tracing off the structures of the images and then inking right over the tracing. I'll use this just so my hand's not in the way if I'm doing it on this. And then a lot of this stuff that you see me using, like the lighting and stuff that I use for making the videos on the channel, that was all put in place to deliver actually good quality content to my students instead of just like a shaky laptop. So I don't have a drafting table. I like to sit here. I use a lot of photo reference. I like to watch TV. I don't want to print the photo reference out. I have it on the different screens. So all I do is I have just a like standard drawing board. These things always come with the damn metal clips on them. I wish these companies would make them without the clips. So I rip the clips out, and then I just sit in my chair. I've got a chair that I bought locking wheels. That's important because I have the plastic on the floor in case I spill ink. I don't get ink on the carpet. And then I have the locking wheels. And so I can scooch myself really close to the table and prop just this drawing board in my lap, so it's pretty vertical. and that's how I draw. And in the videos of me drawing, that's what you're seeing me using. And then got like a good cushion on the seat. So that's how I do it. I know most people have a drafting table, but I really like watching TV while I draw if I can. So that's usually going on over there. And because I use so much photo reference, I like having the screen. I have this rotating light here, which is usually illuminating for me. I don't like turning on these spotlights that I use when I record videos because those get pretty hot, but if I needed illumination, I could do that. I guess for the recording purposes, I went a little crazy and got 2 webcams because I thought when I was instructing I was going to have one over my shoulder, but I found that it's better just to use this gooseneck and record things with my just with my phone like I am now, and then edit together later. So I thought I was going to be doing in live classes for my students, like talking to them and switching to this and switching to me drawing in Photoshop, but that just became a lot. So that's how I do it. That's my permanent workstation. I have the Epson Workforce, which is a really awesome, not terribly expensive. It's got a 12 by 18 scanner bed, so you can work at the standard 11 by 17 size, and it also prints up to 12 by 18, so that's where I'm printing out my blue lines. So that's my recommendation, is you just find out what your needs are and build yourself a corner. Build a space that has everything you want in it, and don't worry about if it looks like a stupid spaceship alien, like total dork thing that goes up and down. Another thing that I have, not for drawing, but for when I'm on class and I'm not doing anything, I'm just waiting for students to log in, I bought a underdesk treadmill just so I'm not standing there. It hurts my hips. It's easier to walk, and then if a student logs in, I just jump onto the side and pretend like I'm not doing things. So those are the kinds of concerns I'm thinking about in terms of my workstation. Is ergonomics, what's good for my health, what's got all the stuff to keep me mentally active, like being able to watch TV or listen to music. I spent so long renting rooms and stuff. I don't really have speakers. I always listen to things in ear because it blocks everyone else out. That's something else I need. I can't have other people's noise when I'm working. So, and then I don't want to distract other people as well. So I just have my earbuds that I can listen to stuff with. I mean, they're wireless, so I'm not like tied to the desk, but it's just that kind of stuff, like what lets you be in your flow. That's my biggest recommendation, and that's going to look different for everyone. Okay, in terms of storage, I don't like, again, it's just how much stuff do people have and what works best for them. The way I've solved it is I have few amount of tools currently. I got rid of most of my painting stuff because I don't plan on doing any painting. So I just have furniture that works for me in terms of keeping my supplies close at hand. Pretty much all my original art I just have on this shelf here. Just have a drawer that has some painting stuff in it. Mostly a video game controller and CDs. And then this is really all my art supplies that are going to be used anytime currently. Just some more electronic equipment and ink. The biggest thing that I've found helpful is going and buying, this is maybe the only thing that could be of any value to anyone, is not just having a drawer and throwing stuff in it, but just going and buying just some dividers. I used to work a lot in, like, before I got teaching jobs, I used to work at like Michael's and Joann's and craft stores and stuff like that. And I always made fun of the product we sold and all the women that came in to buy stuff, because half of what we sold, I just called it shit to put shit in. It's like I've got a thing to put stuff in and then I'm subdividing it. It's just more shit to put shit in. So I used to make fun of that, but Tori's, real into that whole Marie Kondo organizing, kind of chicks organizing stuff on Instagram. And I knew I wanted something like this, so I asked her what her idea was. So I just bought enough that I can squish in here. And it's like brushes. Here's like printer ink. These are like my tech pens. Sharpies. More ink. I have a lot of ink. Xanax for plane flights. And then I just throw stuff on top. So I don't know. Just things for my daily routine, my medicine and vitamins, and I kind of, you know, it's not super organized. Stuff like this that I just want to grab, like rulers, I kind of just leave that out on top. And then this, again, having a drawer with subdivisions in it. I didn't used to have that, and I do really like having the subdivisions now. So nibs, kind of pens and ink, just kind of etc. brushes and toothbrushes. And then this is more how I normally used to do it, just throw stuff in there, but just like French curves and razor blades. I kind of have loose categories in my head about what stuff is, kind of like drafting tool crap, I guess. And this is remnants of my career as a painter, so there's just some paint brushes that I like that I kept. I threw a lot of stuff away when we moved because I wasn't planning on painting anytime soon. And then a couple tubes of paint where I mixed a specific color and I have it pre-tubed. But other than that, I think I threw all my paint away. I just have this nice flesh tone formula that I made a lot of. But I never really use a lot of tools, so I don't have a huge storage problem. Then past the bookshelves that I've shown, I have another bookshelf in here, and this is mostly just paper. Like I've got different, you know, I've got Bristol board down there and different printer paper. So it's nice, you know, it just depends on whose house is like what. And then those are boxes of, here's some Strange Death, and those are from the You Don't Know Jack campaign. These are boards and bags that I can mail people drawings and comics in. Bristol board, so I mean, I've got my system. It's not the cleanest thing in the world, but it works for me. And then this bookshelf here, I have just like the scale for shipping, extra Strange Death stuff. Oh, another tool that's been super useful for me. I don't know that a lot of artists think about it, but when we did the Kickstarters for You Don't Know Jack and Strange Death of Alex Raymond, we had to print a boatload of labels. So one of the expenses was we got a label printer, and that plus like being able to just like use an online shipping service and print a label is so awesome. Instead of having to wait in line. Like I always feel like I'm in God mode when I go to the post office now, because I just have something pre-labeled and I just walk in and toss it on the counter and leave. So for shipping artwork, that's super nice. And for, you know, now that I have it, it's just like even if I need to send like a personal package or something. So I would highly recommend that. Just some other bits of like organization, I guess. It doesn't look totally organized. This is all trash in the garage. These are all sealed up nice. So this is shipping and packing stuff that we used. Luckily I have a garage stored in. I've got paintings out in the garage, which I live in Alabama, so that's a terrible idea. Don't do that. These ones on board should be okay, but these ones on canvas are so at the mercy of the, I mean, it'll be like 80 one day and snowing the next day, and that's terrible for the canvas. I don't know. This is cool. We have a storm shelter in our garage. Not anything to do with art, but while we're giving a tour, I guess that's important in Alabama. Shipping boxes. But the reason I came out here is another thing to do, depending on what your space is. Like if you have a lot of art supplies, which seemed to be what Vitas was asking, is what to do with them in between projects. I just get Rubbermaid bins. Like, go to Michael's, go to Hobby Lobby, go to Joann Fabric or whatever craft store where all the chicks go to buy their shit to put shit in, and buy some of it. Whatever seems to fit your tools. So we have a Rubbermaid here. I think this is more of like Tori's stuff that she had hanging around, art supplies, but there's like acrylic paint and some pencils in there. Artist tape, you know, that's a good way to package it up. I also really like the Rubbermaid. I have this one. I've whittled it down, but this one has all my older art that I've kept. A lot of it I've scanned and gotten rid of just so I don't have as much to move around, but that has like pieces that are representative of each era, you know, kind of the things where I made discoveries or felt like I leveled up. So I've always had a Rubbermaid that I keep artwork in, but you know, scan them too. Like scan all your art and have a record of it. I use a lot of digital organization, really, more than physical. So yeah, I would assume Rubbermaids and then just having a place to stack them, like a shelf like this, would be really helpful. I'm blessed that, you know, we can rent a full house, and so we have a garage to put stuff in. But I would imagine something like this could go in a closet and create an organizational system. I'm pretty programmatic about that kind of stuff. It would be like paints, and I like, if this was my box, I'd probably try and store the paints in. So maybe I am an organized dude. I don't know. I've tried to store the paints like in color wheel order, but that's because I'm partially colorblind, so that helps me. It's really like self-understanding, realizing what your needs are, what your space is, and kind of problem solving the best fit for the space and the best fit for your needs. But I do like to keep things up and packed out of the way, especially if I'm not using them. So yeah, I don't know. I hope that's helpful. I hope it's at least interesting to see what I'm doing. But thanks again, Vitas, for you're just one of our greatest supporters and have been since the beginning. Yeah, and I really appreciate it, man. And I hope that answers your question.